The apparent calm that consumes the National Football League's backstage during the off-season hides complex mechanisms that redefine the long-term fate of entire franchises. However, the recent news flow has brought to light a parallel narrative that goes directly back to the strategic moves initiated in 2024. While analysts and fans focused on imminent signings, a monumental silver bullet was dodged by the New England Patriots front office. The complete collapse and intense saga of professional self-destruction starring wide receiver Brandon Ayuk, which now haunts and paralyzes the San Francisco 49ers football department, serves as the backdrop to one of the greatest managerial miracles in Foxborough's history. The script for an unprecedented crisis, ready to be staged under the relentless pressure of Gillette Stadium, ended up becoming the silent foundation of an unprecedented sporting reconstruction in the American Conference. To understand the magnitude of the current scenario, it is imperative to analyze Brandon Ayuk's recent trajectory. Established as one of the league's most explosive targets, the athlete became the epicenter of a fierce market dispute when he demanded an astronomical contract extension to remain on the West Coast. Behind his unquestionable statistical production, however, lay a volatile and highly internally conflictive profile, characteristics that intensified drastically after the negotiations concluded. Ayuk transformed his routine into a media spectacle of public dissatisfaction, using live broadcasts on social media to destabilize his own team's environment, attack fellow professionals, and devalue the coaching staff. The player, who is still legally bound to the San Francisco 49ers with a pending contract worth $120 million, began acting in a way that burned bridges with potential suitors, becoming a difficult figure to manage and a high financial risk for any NFL organization. The deterioration of the relationship between the athlete and the Californian franchise reached critical levels, according to detailed reports from the American press, including major sports publications such as USA Today. After suffering a severe and complex knee injury during Week 7 of the 2024 season, sustaining complete tears of the anterior cruciate ligament, ACL, and medial collateral ligament, MCL, the player completely disregarded the professional guidelines of the medical team. Ayuk repeatedly and deliberately neglected the mandatory physical therapy rehabilitation sessions stipulated by the coaching staff. As a direct consequence of this breach of protocol and insubordination, the 49ers activated punitive clauses that resulted in the automatic forfeiture of approximately $30 million in guaranteed funds originally stipulated in his contract. Away from the pitch and isolated on injury lists with no return date in sight, the receiver directed his efforts toward a public smear campaign against the team's management, labeling the respected general manager John Lynch a bizarre predator and creating an environment of total unsustainability in the San Francisco locker room. The direct connection of this crisis to the New England Patriots reveals how close the franchise came to compromising its financial health for the next 5 years. In August 2024, the Massachusetts organization was operating under the urgent need to acquire an elite primary receiver to anchor its offensive game plan. Driven by this market pressure, the front office, led by the Patriots, structured an aggressive financial strategy to entice Brandon Ayuk. As reported at the time by renowned ESPN reporter Mike Reese and corroborated by correspondents such as Mike Kadlick of Sports Illustrated, New England formalized an official contract offer of $32 million annually, totaling a $128 million deal over 4 seasons. More than the direct impact on the salary cap, the transaction would require the relinquishment of multiple valuable draft and roster assets, representing a very high-risk investment that could restrict the Patriots' financial flexibility in case of any physical or disciplinary issues for the player. Negotiations between the two franchises progressed rapidly behind the scenes, generating an atmosphere of extreme expectation and apprehension at the Foxborough complex. As detailed by NBC Sports Boston reports and information validated by journalist Diana Rossini, the San Francisco 49ers gave their final approval to the trade proposal structured by the New England Patriots. The terms of the sporting compensation were already agreed upon between the managements. The Patriots would send to California their second-round pick in the 2025 draft, a fourth-round pick in the 2026 draft, in addition to the experienced wide receiver Kendrick Bourne. The scenario seemed irreversible, and market analysts were already projecting Ayuk's immediate impact on the team's tactical scheme. There was a clear division between the optimism of having an individual talent of that magnitude and the fear of the impact that the financial amount would have on the team's payroll in the medium term. The outcome of that aggressive negotiation ended up happening unexpectedly, shaped exclusively by the player's own arrogant stance. Brandon Ayuk exercised his informal veto power and categorically rejected the transfer to the New England Patriots, refusing the multi-million-dollar contracts put on the table by the Massachusetts management. As sources close to the deal reported at the time, the reason for the refusal was based on the athlete's deep disdain for the Patriots' rebuilding process. Ayuk stated that he did not believe the team's quarterback core was at an acceptable technical level for his individual ambitions and that the organization was not capable of competing for a playoff spot in the short term. he chose to remain in San Francisco aiming for a Super Bowl run, a scenario assessment that proved geometrically wrong, demonstrating a complete inability to anticipate the development of young talent and the structural solidity that the New England franchise was about to consolidate. Aiyuk's unilateral decision triggered a positive ripple effect of historic proportions for the New England Patriots. By retaining the assets that would have been sacrificed in the trade, the franchise kept its draft capital intact for the 2025 draft. With the second-round pick that originally belonged to the San Francisco 49ers, the Patriots selected running back TreVeyon Henderson from Ohio State University. Henderson quickly proved himself a dynamic phenomenon in Foxborough, breaking franchise records that had stood since the Curtis Martin era in the 1990s. The young running back accumulated memorable performances throughout his rookie season, scoring multiple long-range touchdowns of over 50 yards in consecutive games and becoming the cornerstone of the team's running game. Henderson's physical presence and versatility gave the Patriots' offense the aggressive identity that Aiyuk considered impossible to achieve without him. Free from the dead weight of a $128 million contract tied to an injured and dissatisfied player, the New England Patriots used their clean salary cap to build one of the most feared defensive units in the NFL. The preserved financial space allowed the team to make an aggressive move in the 2025 offseason, securing the signing of defensive tackle Milton Williams through a historic 4-year, $104 million deal, making him the highest-paid defensive lineman in franchise history. Williams immediately justified the investment, posting dominant performances from the line of scrimmage, including multiple decisive sacks to seal crucial division wins against direct rivals like the Miami Dolphins. Additionally, this same financial health enabled the signing of high-impact veterans for the backbone of the defense, such as cornerback Carlton Davis and linebacker Robert Spillane, pieces that solidified the Patriots as one of the best defenses in the entire league. The ramifications of Brandon Aiyuk's refusal culminated in a radical transformation of the AFC's tactical hierarchy. If the Patriots' front office had been dealing with off-field controversies and Aiyuk's complex rehabilitation, the rigid salary cap would have prevented any bold moves for additional aerial targets. With a balanced budget and intact institutional credibility, management operated surgically in the trade market, acquiring wide receiver Romeo Doubs and, in a bombshell move, elite receiver A.J. Brown. Brown's arrival masterfully filled the number one receiver position the team had been craving for 2024, but with a crucial difference: an athlete integrated into the system, physically dominant, and with a winning mentality. The strength of the current roster, which combines the youth of TreVeyon Henderson, the devastating impact of Milton Williams in the trenches, and the explosiveness of A.J. Brown in the passing game, has definitively positioned the New England Patriots in the top tier of the NFL, solidifying the team as a genuine contender for the Super Bowl title. Prominent analysts and international insiders such as Adam Schefter of ESPN corroborate the thesis that Aiyuk's recent behavior justifies the franchise's fears and validates the path taken by New England. According to Schefter's statements, the receiver's public actions continuously erode his market value and frighten management seeking internal stability. The Patriots, historically known for their rigid culture of discipline and collective focus, avoided introducing a mass distraction element precisely during their most sensitive tactical transition period. Aiyuk's refusal, based on a short-sighted and misguided view of the team's future, acted as a natural filter that purged an individualistic mentality from a locker room in formation. The Patriots proved that the solidity of a management model focused on sustainable assets and financial health outweighs the dependence on individual talents surrounded by behavioral volatility. Keeping up with the meticulous behind-the-scenes workings of the NFL and understanding the direct impact of backroom decisions on on-field performance is fundamental for fans who want to understand the true dynamics of the New England Patriots. This channel is committed to keeping our community informed with accurate data, in-depth tactical analysis, and reports based strictly on verifiable facts. To avoid missing any details about the team's evolution, the progress of training camp activities, and tactical projections for the championship ring, it's essential that you formally subscribe, activate notifications, and share this technical content with other sports enthusiasts. Given the entire scenario described and the financial and sporting consequences generated by the butterfly effect of 2024, journalistic analysis imposes a final and reflective question. Should Brandon Aiyuk's arrogant refusal be officially recorded as the greatest behind-the-scenes escape in the contemporary history of the New England Patriots? Or would the organization have been able to shape the athlete's behavior if the $128 million contract had been signed in Foxborough?